A girl named Abigail, a ballet dancer, is introduced at the start of the movie. Little does she know, there are criminals hiding in her house. Suddenly, they surprise her with an attack, using sedatives to make her unconscious. They quickly kidnap her and take her to a secluded mansion. There, they meet their leader, Lambert, who instructs them not to share any personal information with each other or with Abigail. Lambert explains that their job will last for 24 hours, and the difficult part is already done, and now they just have to watch over her. However, Joey asks about Abigail's identity, and Lambert reveals that she is the daughter of a wealthy man who is about to lose $50 million. So in order to make sure they can't be traced, he says he's going to take away their phones. The members of the group are Joey, who used to be in the army, Frank, who used to be a detective, Peter, who is not very smart and used to work for the Canadian mafia, Dean, who drives but has problems with empathy, Sammy, who is a hacker, and Rickles, who used to be a Marine sniper. These names are just made-up aliases based on the Rat Pack, and the members can't share their real names or any personal info to keep Abigail safe. Every person will get a $7 million check in one day. Joey goes to see Abigail. She asks her to take off her blindfold because it feels too tight. Joey puts on her mask to stay safe and does what she was asked to do. Joey sees that Abigail's wrists hurt. Then she moves her hands from behind her back to the front and puts the handcuffs back on, so she feels more comfortable. Joey tells Abigail that they won't let her go until her dad gives them money. Abigail was worried and asked if they were going to hurt her. Joey assured that if she behaves and her father provides the money, then she will be fine. During their conversation, Abigail informed Joey of her name, and Joey reciprocated by mentioning that she has a son who is the same age as her. Abigail tells her that they were wrong because her father doesn't care about her. As Joey gets ready to leave, Abigail expresses her concern for what will happen to her. Joey comes back to the group and tells Frank that the girl suggested that her dad could be really violent. She queries Frank regarding the girl's father, but he concedes that he is unaware. Frank was asked if he knows who the girl's father is, but he replied that he has no information about it. Later, Frank goes to Abigail's room and is surprised to see that she is not wearing a blindfold. He is worried that she saw his face, so he talks to her about it. Abigail admits to him that she has not caught sight of his face, and when Frank questions her about her father, she reluctantly discloses that Christophe Lazar is her father. Frank is worried and leaves Abigail's room. He informs the group of his intention to leave. Anxious, the group moves in closer to him, and Joey inquires about the cause of his distress. Frank says that the girl is the daughter of a very powerful and well-known criminal, Christophe Lazar. Joey believes they should provide her with a meal, make an anonymous call, and then depart this place. Frank claims that Joey caught sight of his face due to Joey's actions, but Joey insists that she was the sole individual with access to Abigail's room. Dean thinks that Christophe is not a real person, just a made-up story, but Frank keeps saying that he is real. The group is unsure about Joey's choice to take off the girl's blindfold and think they might have to kill her now. However, Joey disagrees with the group decides to go ahead with their plan, and then they will vanish after they get their share of the money. Later on, Rickles confides in Joey that he has a lack of trust in these individuals and encourages them to stick together and watch out for one another. Joey agrees, saying she was also thinking the same thing. At the same time, Dean looks at an old painting and thinks that she's lying to him. The girl in it looks like Abigail. He goes to the basement and a door opens on its own. Confused, he goes into the room and gets surprised by a rat, but when he tries to go, something pulls him without being seen. When Sammy hears him yelling, she quickly goes to the basement to see what's wrong. Upon finding him, she becomes frightened to discover that his head has been severed. She informs everyone, and upon viewing Dean's deceased body, Frank observes that it appears as though a wild animal has shredded him. Sammy sees that everyone is acting strange, and they tell her about a person named Valdez, who is in charge of Lazar's head a few years ago. The FBI caught 3 important members of the Lazar's gang. They were secretly held on the highest level of a hotel the night before their trial. 12 agents were in the next room and 2 were by the door. The next day, the FBI came in and found their bodies badly hurt. Body parts were missing and heads with Valdez's signature were found. Then they choose to go see the girl and find her in her room. According to Rickles, Valdez could still be present. Despite her absence in that location, he decides to leave, but when he tries to open the door, he finds another locked door and realizes that they are locked inside. Suddenly, the house's security alarm goes off, and they figure out it's all a trap. Joey quickly goes to Abigail and asks if anyone else came in, here with them and the man with glasses. At first, Abigail says no, but then she admits that the man with glasses made her keep it a secret and threatened to hurt her if she didn't. Joey claims that she won't let him do anything to harm her. Abigail tells her that he works for her dad, and his name is Valdez. Suddenly, Rickles calls her and says that someone took his gun. Joey spreads the word that Frank's true identity is Valdez. They choose to look for another way out of the house. But as they go, Joey hears a sound. She turns around and sees Rickles standing in a strange way. Joey comes up to him carefully but is shocked to find out that he has been seriously hurt by descending the stairs. She seeks out Frank to inquire about his motives for bringing them to that location with ill intent. Frank takes out his gun, saying he doesn't understand, and asking her to tell him what she's thinking. She confirms that he is Valdez, the individual who took the lives of Dean and Rickles. Frank does not believe what she said. He thinks Abigail has influenced her and is trying to make them not trust each other. He says they should be firm with the girl and tells Peter to do it. Then Abigail suddenly becomes a vampire. Worried, Joey says they need to find a different way to escape, but Frank says he already looked at all the other doors and they have strong locks and thick shutters. Frank thinks they should get ready to kill Abigail, but Joey doesn't agree. They said that it would be really bad if they killed her because then they wouldn't have any leverage. They think they should give Abigail to Lazar so they don't hurt them, but Frank doesn't want to do it. Frank goes to talk to Abigail but is surprised to see her dancing with Dean's body. After some time, Abigail sees them and lets go of Dean's body. Sammy sprints towards Abigail only to have Abigail unexpectedly pounce on her. Frank and Peter try to help, but she pushes them away, and they see that even sticks and crosses don't work on her. She hurts them, and they run away from that place. Joey suggested using the tranquilizer Lambert had provided to pacify her. She suggests breaking up with anyone who finds Abigail first and letting her know so she can come with the syringe. After some time, Sammy is surprised by bats making her fall into a pool. To her shock, she sees that it's full of bodies. At the same time, Abigail goes to Peter, who gets really scared and tells the others about the vampire behind him. Then finally, they manage to inject her with the tranquilizer, and she became unconscious. After Abigail wakes up, she discovers that she is trapped in an elevator. Joey says that if she tells them how to escape, they will set her free. Abigail says she planned everything, and Lambert I, her worker. Then she tells everyone that Sammy's real name is Jessica. She acknowledges that she initially funded her career by accessing her affluent parents' bank account. This caused people to put their money in other countries and eventually focus on larger targets, especially one in particular. After that, she reveals that Peter goes by the name Terran and is employed as the enforcer for the Montreal Broussard family. She teases him, asking if he gets tired of hurting people for the money, and puts up with his co-workers making fun of him for not being smart. She says he stole from his team and makes fun of him for being weak and unfaithful. In addition, she refers to him as a drunk and wonders about the duration of time he can continue to use the stolen money. She then tells them that Frank used to be a detective named Adam Barrett. He pretended to be someone else and worked for their branch in New York. Abigail wanted to know his feelings when he took into custody the 3 lieutenants he had grown fond of. She also admitted that she was the one who hurt them because of him. She then tells everyone that Joey is actually Ana Lucia Cruz. She used to be an army medic but was kicked out for using Maury that belonged to the army. She tried to look after her son but then left him with his mean father before she started working as a secret doctor for some sketchy people. One day she made a mistake at work, and instead of removing a bullet, she accidentally tore a blood vessel, and someone important to her father's business died from bleeding. Abigail thinks that Joey and Detective Barrett are similar because both of them didn't go back to see their kids. Joey questions Abigail about the number of people she thinks she will have to hurt in order for her father to love her again. Frank wonders the cause of this. If she wanted revenge, she could have killed them instead of bringing them here. Abigail expressed that she takes the pleasure in playing with her food and considers it on par with any other meat she has brought before, simply a way to pass the time. Joey asks Abigail who is in the cage to let her out, but Abigail says that if they do, she won't hurt 2 of them. Frank wants to kill her, but Abigail says that if anyone helps her escape, they will be spared. Peter tried to open the door to stay safe, but Joey shoots him. She claims she almost didn't spot him and then requested his gun in order to assist him. Frank is in charge of watching her, and Abigail wants him to open the door. Frank said he will think about it if she tells him how to leave. Abigail agrees, but says he has to let her out right after she helps him. Frank said okay, and Abigail told him about a secret door in the library. She told him to push the bookshelf on the right wall using the book. Frank decided to cancel the deal and refuses to open the cage door, but Abigail easily breaks the gate and starts moving towards Frank in a threatening way. Before she can hurt him, Joey comes and breaks the wooden planks off a window, letting in the sunlight, which Abigail is very sensitive to. Joey sees Frank looking for something, and then he finds the book. When he takes it out, nothing happens, and Frank realizes that Abigail has tricked him again. Later, Sammy says that if they find the power source, they can turn it off. They form 2 groups to find the power supply. However, all of a sudden, Sammy becomes a vampire. Under Abigail's power after injuring Peter, she proceeded to devour him and ultimately put an end to his life. Later, when Joey and Frank got there, Sammy acted normal and told them that Abigail had killed Peter and was still inside. However, Joey figures out that Sammy is now a vampire. When Sammy started to come towards them, Joey and Frank run away to save themselves. Sammy tries to fight them, but Joey uses a tray to reflect light and beat her. At that moment, the hidden door opens, even though Joey and Frank are worried it might be a trap. They still decide to go inside to look for a way out. They discover the control room of the mansion and encounter Lambert, who is revealed to be a vampire. Lambert brought Joey back to make an arrangement with her, but when Joey said no, Lambert got angry and refused to talk to her. Then he says that Abigail made him a vampire 2 years ago when she discovered he had aided Frank in New York. She came to get him and made a frightening promise to harm his family. Now his sole purpose is to transport her father's enemies to this location. Then Frank allows Lambert to turn him into a vampire so they can work together to kill Abigail and Lazar. But following his transformation, Frank kills Lambert for leading him into Abigail's trap. Abigail attacks Frank, but he overpowers her and drains her blood, leaving her weakened. Cornered, Joey leaves a phone message for her son, apologizing for having been absent from his life for many years. Reveling in his power, Frank bites Joey, intending to turn her into his thrall and force her to kill Abigail and eventually her own son. However, Joey's enthrallment fails due to Frank's inexperience with his new abilities, and she and Abigail team up to kill him. With Joey's hold broken, Abigail encourages her to leave and be present in her son's life, but Lazar arrives and threatens Joey. Abigail defends Joey for being present when she needed her, while Lazar was not. Although Lazar angrily rebukes her, he relents for Abigail's sake and allows the bloodied and battered Joey to leave.